Hurricane Katrina made landfall 13 years ago today, leaving behind major devastation. The surge created by Katrina overtopped and blew through levees in about 36 places, leaving homes damaged, businesses, and a couple thousand lives lost. Joining us now with the current state of the rebuilt levee system 13 years later is H.J. Bosworth, a civil engineer with levees.org. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I think people would want to know, first of all, if a carbon copy of Katrina hit today, it would not cause this kind of devastation.
No, we'd lose roofs, we would have down trees, we'd have down power lines, but the hurricane protection system, as I like to call it, even now, is 10 times better than it was 13 years ago, without question.
And in a sense, really, maybe in the history of mankind, nothing on this scale has been built this quickly.
It's amazing that the Corps of Engineers was able to build something this massive, substantial, and complicated this quickly.
Okay, so the assumption here would be that you would not have a catastrophic failure where you would have, levees of marshmallows, basically, that were blown through, but you could certainly have overtopping. People shouldn't just naturally assume that, okay, this protects us.
Well, every storm that hits us will expose the weak points. And where those weak points are, it's hard to tell without a storm. The hurricane protection levees aren't like the Mississippi River levees. The Mississippi River levees are tested every few years. Water will get up next to the city, 16, 17 feet above sea level, and put a little pressure on those levees, and you can ride in the backside of them, River Road, check them out, see if they're leaking.
Right.
The hurricane protection levees aren't that way.
So that means long-term maintenance is a...
Oh, it's very important, very important. And the levee district is doing a fine job. They've upgraded their maintenance system. Not that they were guilty of failing to maintain it in the first place, but the way they do it now with tablets and computers and checks and balances and the systems that they got in place, very, very effective.
One thing I do want to get to is in the past you have pointed out that a real problem is the I-10 after you get out of the levee system in the Irish Bayou area, where you kind of go down almost back to sea level, a few feet above sea level, and there's an evacuation route issue that people need to be aware of.
Right there, and with a typical storm, we've got wind from the east, and the wind from the east will kick waves up and bat them against the shoreline right there at the south end of the twin spans, the new improved twin spans, and cause a little grief to folks driving there.
And I think the thing maybe we all need to be aware of is all these storms, as you point out, are different. The threats are different, and that's something, the last thing you want is to have a mass evacuation and then water coming up.
Right, yeah. Fortunately, a mass evacuation should be done in stages. We shouldn't evacuate everybody for a Category 1, certainly. That would be a little bit irresponsible. But knowing how good the system is nowadays is important. However, yes, don't be so confident in our system, because it was made by men, and men make mistakes.
We've learned that. Good advice. H.J. Bosworth, thanks for the perspective this morning.
Thank you for having us.